So let's talk about it. It is currently leg day. The day we've all been dreading. No, I'm kidding. But I have a love-hate relationship with leg day, as I said previously. But it is essential to never skip it. Don't be the guy that skips legs. You don't want to be the person that doesn't prioritize leg day or skips it or says, I can go without doing it today. You are doing yourself a great disservice by not targeting legs, especially if you choose not to squat. I think squatting is essential and detrimental to your progress and progression on a muscular level at the gym. Not only does hitting legs like boost your natural testosterone levels, but it just makes you look more proportionate and evened out. Even if you can't grow big legs, let's say genetically you're a little bit unable to get big legs. If you skip legs, it's certainly more noticeable than as opposed to, someone who hits legs and tries to make their body look more proportionate. But in the famous words of Tom Platz, the quad father, if you are trying to unlock your full bodybuilding potential, you have to squat. So I try to incorporate at least hack squatting or close stance squats or some type of squatting movement when trying to hit legs. So the deeper the squat, the bigger the legs. That's what I always say. But enough about that. Let's get started. No more dilly-dallying. So it is currently, as you can see, 5 a.m. Now you might be asking yourself, why are we so up so early on a Sunday, on a leg day as well? But again, the earlier you can get to the gym and get it out of the way, the better. It's a lot easier, when it's empty. You don't have to worry too much about the gym being crowded and machines being taken. So might as well just get it over with, So let's get this day started so we can get to the gym at a good time, grab ourselves a Smith machine. So let's go ahead and get going and head to the gym so we can snag ourselves a Smith before it's too late. It probably won't be taken considering how early it is. So we'll see. Now, I already had my pre-workout snack. My gym, unfortunately, does not have squat racks. They have Smith machines only, which honestly, a lot of people, it's funny. I remember back in the day, because I used to work out a long time ago and I took a break for a bit, but I'm back now. But I remember back in the day, people used to be very skeptical about Smith machines, and they used to always, say that was not the best way to build muscle. Oh, why grab a Smith for benching or squatting when you can just bench or squat? But I will say this, I feel like I can hit closer to failure without risking injury or, hurting myself when, essentially squatting. So I figured, honestly, Smith would probably be best. And yes, don't get me wrong, if they had regular squat or racks at my gym, I probably would squat, but sometimes you got to make do with what you have. And in this case, Smith machine it is. So let's talk a little bit about what we're going to do. So for squatting, we're definitely going to be doing some close stance squats. I haven't squatted in about 2 weeks. I did do hack squats the previous 2 weeks when I was hitting legs. And the main reason why is just because I was at a different gym. And I personally just wanted to try it out. I love hack squatting. I think it's also, like Tom Platz said, it's either, if you can't do squats, at least a hack squat, But in order to unlock your full bodybuilding potential, you need to squat. You must squat. And it sounds almost biblical, from a bodybuilding perspective. So close stance squats for sure. We're going to be doing some leg extensions, seated leg extensions. Definitely some RDLs. I haven't hit RDLs as well, and I honestly miss it. I think it's a very essential way to grow your hamstrings. There's other ways to grow hamstrings. You can do lying leg curls. You can do seated hamstring curls, and those are all fine and dandy, you know. But RDLs are such a different breed of movement when it comes to hitting legs. I think it's so completely different in comparison to the other two. So definitely going to be doing that. We've got some calves as well. And then afterwards, we're going to do some adductors. Adductors, I think I pronounce it wrong sometimes, but I just read it how it's spelled out. It's ADDUCTR, you know. So adductors, and the reason why, you know, I like to hit those as well is because with that muscle group specifically, that's what really makes the legs look very thick and muscular from the front. I used to skip those a lot, to be quite frank with you. I used to think, this is not a workout that I need to be doing, you know? It's a waste of time. However, after a while, once I started targeting that muscle group and I realized the amount of size I put on in the front and made my legs look even thicker, I said, I'm never skipping this again. You know, this is definitely going to benefit me extensively in my leg progression and just overall in a bodybuilding perspective. So I'm kind of nervous to squat today, though, I'm not gonna lie. But that goes without saying. Squatting is such a nerve-wracking movement. You got a lot of weight on your back, a lot of tension on your back, you know, and and that goes with anybody. Like anybody who's trying to squat, it's gonna be scary. But if it ain't worth trying to do, like, it's not worth like I'll put it this way. If you really want to maximize your growth in the gym and your gains, you can't be scared. You have to learn how to break those fears and just push those boundaries every now and then, because otherwise, you know, you'll never know how far you can go. The famous words of Mike Menser, you'll never know how big you can get until you try. So you might as well get with it. You know, and I live by that. I live by a lot of bodybuilder quotes. That's pretty much how I live my life, in the sense of trying new things and not being too afraid to push yourself past those boundaries. And pushing yourself past those boundaries is going to help you cross plateaus extensively, you know. I mean, I remember the first time I squatted, I could barely squat, you know, a certain amount of weight. I was like thinking to myself, I'm never going to get past this weight. But after a while, and you keep doing it, and it's about practice essentially. And that's essentially what bodybuilding is too. It's just a lot of practice, because you're repeating movements over and over again. And then eventually you get better at it, and then you progress, and you know, it becomes like breathing to you. It's like natural. And I always believe this, and I always say this: there's only 3 ways to get better at something, and that's practice, practice, practice. Only way. We've made it pretty early, I'd say. In fact, it looks almost dead in here. Like, are they even open? I guess we're about to find out. That would honestly kind of make me feel a little bit discouraged. Not to the point where I would skip leg day entirely, but discouraged in the sense like, gotta go somewhere else now. Kind of reminds me of like if you want to go to your favorite restaurant or something, or I don't know, something like that, and then it's closed and you're like, gotta go somewhere else now. That's how I feel when the gym is closed, or if I can't get in, it hasn't happened to me too often at this location. But let's take a look at the time. 5:13. It's honestly, that's actually good timing. I think we're gonna get a good session. It's dead, it's empty. But yeah, stay tuned for the pump afterwards. I'm gonna, do this whole spiel, show the sets and the progression, and yeah, I'll see y'all afterwards. Alrighty. All right, we are back. I was in there a little bit longer than I had anticipated, but I don't know why, it was a little bit crowded today for a Sunday, but still got a very, very tough workout. They're very intense and extensive. Great pump, as you'll see in the footage. It's immaculate leg pump today. And it was honestly 10 out of 10. I hate leg days, but I love the results it gives me. So, honestly, as much as I dread it and sometimes I kind of get in my own head about it, it's still required. You know, if you're trying to build your physique, like I said before, in a very optimal way and progress in the gym every day, you have to, you cannot skip leg day. You cannot skip. You have to squat. I'm looking at you guys. Stop skipping the squats. I see a lot of people nowadays when I'm at the gym, like they do legs, they'll do leg press, leg extensions, you know, seated hamstring curls, but they won't squat. Like they'll steer clear away from that. And that's all fine and dandy, but if you want to get really, really massive legs, you need to squat. So, you know, but that just about does it. I'm going to get some food in me. I'm going to edit this guy together. And no video tomorrow. It's my rest day, so I don't really have any content to film, but I'll be back soon. Well, no promises, but I'll be back soon. Alrighty, I'll see you on the next one.